Everyone is instructed to take a seat as the session starts. It's the case of McKinney versus Brown, and it's already shaping up to be a doozy. Ms. McKinney is here to drop a truth bomb on her husband about their 11-month-old daughter, Amaru. Buckle up, because this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is the case of McKinney versus Brown.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Ms. McKinney, you are here to prove to your husband that he fathered your 11-month-old daughter, Amira. You testify that his paternity denial tearing you apart.
The plot thickens dramatically here. Mr. Brown drops a bombshell with his strong doubts about being Amira's father, pointing to a scandalous sex tape of his wife with another man as Exhibit A. He's adamant about proving this mystery man is the real dad. The courtroom's about to meet this infamous other man, so grab your popcorn, folks.
After finding a sex tape of your wife with another man, you now intend to prove he fathered Amira. We'll meet that man in a moment, but first, Ms. McKinney, tell us why this court date is so important to you.
He's denying the fact that that's his daughter, and it's not about look, it's about DNA, and I'm here today to prove and show that he is the father of Amira Brown.
And I can see that you are really hurting right now.
Here comes a twist in the tale. Ms. McKinney spills the beans on the origins of the sex tape, revealing that she and Mr. Brown were playing the on-again, off-again game at the time. She met the other guy, Mr. Fowler, on a dating site, and things escalated to an in-person meeting. Strap in, because the roller coaster is just getting started.
At the time, me and Mr. Brown was off and on.
How did you meet the other man?
I met him on a dating website. We started talking online, and then I finally met him in person, and he came to my house.
So how often were you sexually active with this man?
10 times.
And now, Mr. Brown, you believe this man is the father. I think we need to meet that man. Jerome, can you please escort our witness into the courtroom?
Just when you thought it couldn't get more tangled, Mr. Fowler discusses the timeline of their relationship and the bombshell pregnancy announcement in 2017. Despite their affair lasting through 2016, he's baffled by the timing of the pregnancy. Keep your eyes peeled, because the truth is stranger than fiction, and it's about to unfold.
What did she tell you exactly?
That she's pregnant and she's ready to give birth.
So who did she say the father was?
She didn't tell me
I
nothing.
said it was complicated.
Believed it was complicated because, like I said,
I was back and forth with him and him.
that sex
back and
tape
forth.
was April 9th, and Amira was born April 9th.
Did that math add up?
No.
When were you intimate with your wife, Miss McKinney? When were you intimate with her?
The year of 2017, I'll say we got back together in April.
Hold on to your hats for this roller coaster of emotions. The judge attempts to piece together the messy timeline as Mr. Brown recalls his bittersweet reaction to the pregnancy news, plagued by doubts due to Amira's appearance not matching his. The suspense is building, and we're inching closer to those jaw-dropping revelations.
Yeah.
Did you know she had been intimate with another man?
Yes, I
She was
did.
informed.
Because you had seen him.
Yes.
So now take me to the birth. When Amira was born, where were you? Were you there?
I was present.
And did you sign the birth certificate?
No, I did not.
I refused to let him sign it.
I said no because Amira didn't look like me. That's why I said
That too.
It's the moment of truth everyone's been waiting for. The DNA results are in, and the courtroom holds its breath. Drum roll, please. Mr. Fowler is not the father of little Amira. There's a collective sigh of relief from one corner, but the mystery deepens. Fasten your seatbelt, because there's another curveball coming right up.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Fowler, you are not the father.
Thank you.
Just when you think you've seen it all, there's more. Another envelope surfaces, cranking up the suspense to new heights.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Brown, you are not the father. Jerome, help her. Jerome, help her.
Miss McGee strides into the courtroom with a mission, petitioning for a DNA test to prove to Mr. McGee, her estranged husband, that he is undoubtedly the father of her 4-year-old daughter, Serenity. She's not just here to play. She lays out her struggles over the past 4 years, raising Serenity solo, diving into the financial and emotional challenges with the finesse of a seasoned soap opera star. Mr. McGee, on the other side, throws in his 2 cents, denying paternity and attributing his doubts to Miss McGee's alleged infidelity. This courtroom drama is hotter than your morning coffee.
Ms. McGee, you have petitioned the court for a DNA test to prove to your estranged husband, Mr. McGee, that he is in fact the father of your 4-year-old daughter, Serenity.
Yes, Your Honor.
You claim your husband vanished 4 years ago after the birth of your child and has denied fathering your daughter. Mr. McGee, you say you wanted to be a family, and that's why you married Ms. McGee. That after Serenity was born, your wife cheated on you, and that you may not be the father of the child.
Hold on to your hats, because Mr. McGee isn't here to play victim. He recounts a pivotal pivotal moment of doubt when he found a text from another man on Miss McGee's phone during a post-Super Bowl sleep asking about his baby. Imagine the plot twist in a telenovela. That's the level of drama we're dealing with here. The courtroom's buzzing, and you'll want to stick around for the next chapter.
We were drinking and stuff. She ended up falling asleep. Sitting on the edge of the bed, her phone ended up going off. Pick it up. I'm going through the messages. I see a message in there from another guy talking about how's my baby, referring to Serenity. So that was like the first indication they think that somebody else is the father. Then I'm looking through pictures. She got naked pictures of showing other men genitalia. She's supposed to be my wife, but this not me.
We both were committing adultery with each other. He was cheating on me, I was cheating on him.
Enter stage left, Miss Justice, Miss McGee's mother, who seems to have borrowed her allegiance from a daytime drama because she sides with Mr. McGee. She boldly asserts her disbelief in his paternity based on her own observations of her daughter's colorful love life. As the plot thickens and the audience's jaws hit the floor, you know this family feud is far from over.
Her mother told you you are not Serenity's father.
Yes.
Who is she to sit up here and tell you that you're not my child's father when the last time I recalled it was me, you, and a van?
Now, wait a minute, Mr. McGee. Let's stop right there. You say her mother told you that Serenity is not your biological child.
Yes.
Now, what I can see from the court papers, her mother is here. Miss McGee's mother into the courtroom.
Miss Justice digs her heels in deeper, elaborating on her disbelief in Mr. McGee's paternity by outlining her daughter's promiscuous escapades and the mismatched conception timeline. She paints a picture of disappointment and concern, a regular matriarch in distress, all while defending the values she tried to instill. The emotional fireworks aren't stopping anytime soon, so keep your eyes peeled.
No, my daughter was out there.
I was out there.
Yes, she
Excuse me?
Let's be respectful.
Excuse me?
Let's be respectful.
Was I a slut when you married me? Was I a slut when you slept with me?
Yes.
You say you don't believe Mr. McGee is your grandchild's biological father because...
Your Honor, they were in and out of relationship, and my daughter was just out there. We have a relationship, and she talked to me.
Just when you think you've seen it all, the plot twists again with the introduction of Mr. Coley, Miss McGee's current beau and knight in shining armor, stepping up as Serenity's pseudo-dad. Miss McGee admits to their unprotected rendezvous during the conception window, throwing another potential daddy into the mix. The saga continues, and trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next.
Believe that it's my daughter's future fiance is the father of my granddaughter.
Are you kidding me right now?
That's what I believe.
Fiance? How you be married with a fiance?
She actually said future fiance.
That means that they're already in a relationship.
Yes, we are, and I've been in a relationship with him for the last 4 years.
So...
Hear me out. He stepped up and helped me take care of my child while this one left us both. So of course I'm gonna move on with my life. I'm not gonna sit up there and keep being bitter. That little girl means more to me than anything. And that's why he stepped up.
The courtroom holds its breath as Judge Lake unveils the DNA test results. Drum roll, please.
The biological father is Mr.
How you feel now? Bet you feel stupid now, don't you?
Miss McGee.
You missed all them years.
Miss McGee, let's be respectful.
As everyone takes their seats, the atmosphere in the courtroom is electric, like the calm before a storm. The court session begins as the judge instructs everyone to be seated.
You may be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of McGreer versus Wade.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Mr. McGreer, you say that a summer affair you had 20 years ago resulted in the birth of the defendant, Amia Wade.
Mr. McGreer steps up with a story straight out of a summer romance novel. He presents his claim that a summer affair 20 years ago resulted in the birth of the defendant, Amia Wade. He expresses his intention to prove his paternity. Strap in, folks. It sounds like we're in for quite the tale.
You most certainly are her biological father, and you intend to prove that today. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Wade, you say you were always told by your mother that Mr. McGreer is your dad, but claim that as a child you discovered information which leads you to believe another man is your father.
With a mix of hope and skepticism, Ms. Wade shares her version of the story. She shares her doubts about Mr. McGreer's paternity, influenced by discovering conflicting information as a child. This plot thickens faster than a pot of courtroom coffee. Stay tuned for what's next.
Why is it so important now that you prove to Ms. Wade that you are her biological father?
You know, I'm doing this because I love her, and I really want her to know. I really apologize for the times that I wasn't there and couldn't be the dad that I really want to be.
I don't believe that you're my father. I don't want you to be my father.
Ms. Wade drops a bombshell that sends ripples through the courtroom. She vehemently denies Mr. McGreer's paternity and expresses her hurt over his inconsistent presence. If you thought that was intense, just wait for the judge's reaction coming up.
He just was never there as a father. He popped in and out of my life over the years.
Were you in and out of her life, sir?
Yes. My lifestyle didn't permit me to be the father that I wanted to be or needed to be at that time, just to be with her as a dad. I missed a lot of her life. You know, that really bothered me the same way that I couldn't be in her life like I really needed to be.
Are very angry about that, Ms. Wade.
Yes, Your Honor, I am.
Ms. Wade brings the feels with some heavy childhood memories. She recounts the emotional impact of her father's absence during significant childhood moments, such as father-daughter dances. Grab your tissues. This emotional roller coaster isn't slowing down yet.
Where everybody else had their father, why couldn't I have mine?
Even at 20 years old, those are still memories you carry with you.
Yes, Your Honor.
If you look at them days when I wasn't there, I'm in one state, you in another state.
It doesn't matter. If you really thought that you was my father, you would have made a way to be there. No matter what you went through, you was never there. And then you want to come in and out of my life 5 years at a time. You want to come in my life when I'm 19 and try to be a dad. It's not gonna work like that.
Time seems to stretch as the past is laid bare. A time lapse in their relationship is highlighted, showing gaps of several years between Mr. McGreer's visits to Amia. Just when you think it can't get more heartfelt, the next testimony gives it a run for its money.
Another 6, 7 years?
My lifestyle didn't permit me to be the father that I wanted to be.
You still should have been there. It doesn't matter.
I understand how you feel.
No, you don't.
Oh, I understand how you feel.
No, you don't. Because if you did, you would have made an effort to be there no matter what. It does not matter.
Did.
You should have been the father.
At the end of the day,
you should have been a father.
I'm still your dad.
No, you're not.
Ms. Wade digs deep, revealing the wounds left by absence. She discusses the emotional pain and confusion caused by the absence of a consistent father figure and her subsequent attachment to another man who treated her as his daughter. The courtroom drama is real, and there's more heart-tugging ahead.
When Mia was sent to me by her mom, be there for her, when she came to stay with me for them couple of weeks, and I didn't deny that. I didn't say, no, don't send her. That's not my daughter, none of that. I just said, yeah, of course, because that's another bond that I can get with her.
No, Your Honor. My mother said, your dad want to spend some time with you. I'm going to send you for a weekend, which was probably 3 to 4 days. And yes, we made a bond. Yes, we talked.
Mr. McGreer stands firm in his belief, adding a dash of certainty to the mix. He insists that he never doubted his paternity and expresses regret over his choices. Just when you think you've heard it all, the emotional outpouring is about to reach new heights.
By the time he got back in touch with me and came back down to Greenwood, I had already had Amia. Amia was about 2.5 months old the first time he actually seen her. Things just didn't work out, and I actually gave him an ultimatum. I actually told him, it's either me and your daughter, or it's your lifestyle. And he chose the lifestyle.
Do you have any doubts that she was your biological daughter?
Not at all.
Amia's testimony tugs at the heartstrings with a story of unkept promises. Emotional testimonies continue as Amia discusses broken promises and the long-term emotional effects of her father's absence. Hold on to your seats because the emotional truths are about to come flooding out.
He made so many promises that he didn't keep. When I was 13, promised to get me a whole new wardrobe of clothes for school. I had to go to school with the same clothes I put last year, and that resulted into me being bullied. As a result, I think that was his fault. There were times where little things like the bookmobile came around. I wanted a book called my dad for $10, didn't get it. You're not so bad of a person. Like, you could have done it.
Enter the mysterious father figure, thickening the plot. Ms. Wade reveals another man has been a consistent father figure to her, challenging Mr. McGreer's claims further. The courtroom is buzzing with anticipation. Will the real father please stand up?
He would just come around and speak to me, give me a little change, like pocket full of change. He said that he could be my father, and that's when he automatically introduced me to like 6 of his other kids. And after that, I spent more time with them. He's been taking care of me ever since that age. He has been there for my prom days. He spent time with me and his other children. He spent quality time.
Do you know the gentleman she's talking about, Ms. Wade?
That's the guy I tried to have a relationship with after Mr. McGreer and I split up.
The courtroom is a battlefield of emotions as the judge navigates the complex family dynamics. The court discusses the conflicting paternal claims and the emotional impact on Amia, highlighting her feelings of abandonment. Brace yourselves, the DNA results are just around the corner.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. McGreer, you are not the father. I'm so sorry.
The episode kicks off with a formal but somewhat quirky greeting session. The judge briskly swings into action, introducing the case Boyd v. Henderson with a bit of flair courtesy of the bailiff Jerome. As formalities are exchanged, Ms. Boyd steps up, claiming Mr. Henderson's denial of paternity has thrown their daughter's emotional state into a blender, setting the tone for what promises to be a courtroom roller coaster.
Ms. Boyd, you say the defendant's paternity denial destroyed your daughter's childhood and has caused emotional distress. You are here asking this court to to order a paternity test prove that Mr. Henderson is Regina's father. Mr. Henderson, you say there is no need for a DNA test because it is impossible that you are Regina's dad.
The plot thickens as Ms. Boyd and Mr. Henderson give wildly different accounts of their alleged romantic encounter. Henderson claims it was all a blur thanks to his inebriated state, while Boyd insists it led to her pregnancy. A revelation so brief she thought it was impossible. As everyone braces themselves, you can't help but wonder what curveball will be thrown next in this paternity puzzle.
She said it was quick.
We didn't have sex. She came into the room, and when she took off her clothes, not now. I was too blitzed. I was high. She took off her clothes, and then when I took off my clothes, that was it. It was over. And then she said, what's wrong with you? I said, I'm done.
Yeah, I said, what's wrong with you? Because it happened so fast.
She said, that's what I
didn't even know what was going on. Because, Your Honor, I was parents. I shouldn't have been doing it in the first place. I was young.
But you just said you was having sex with other dudes.
Just when you thought it couldn't get more tangled, Ms. Boyd drops another bombshell. Upon finding out she was pregnant, she initially thought another guy was the dad due to their concurrent fling. Meanwhile, Henderson decides this is the perfect time to claim paternity, confronting Boyd right by the newborn-themed mailboxes. Strap in as the tale takes another twist, leading us to an awkward mailbox showdown.
First of all, I didn't think it was his baby because I was with somebody else at the time. So when I did find out I was pregnant, that's why I didn't think it was his. That's what I mean by I wasn't experienced, because it happened so fast. I didn't know I could have been pregnant by him.
Were you using protection with that person?
No.
When you got pregnant, did you tell that other man that he could be the biological father of your daughter?
That's why I thought he was the father.
Fast forward a few years, and Mr. Henderson slides into Regina's Facebook DMs with a "I'm your daddy" message that could easily be mistaken for a bad chat-up line. This bizarre attempt at reconnection throws Regina for a loop, leading to a series of awkward father-daughter hangouts that don't quite click outside their scheduled visits. Just when you think it's all calming down, the social media saga adds a whole new layer of cringe to the proceedings.
Mr. Henderson contacted me on Facebook saying, I'm your daddy. And then I'm like, is he trying to talk to me? Because he had his cat daddy blue suit on. And I'm like, then he went on and said, I used to date your mom. I'm like, oh, okay. My mom was in the room at that moment. So I asked her about Mr. Henderson. She said she forgot all about Mr. Henderson. And then from there, me and Mr. Henderson exchanged numbers.
The judge, probably as baffled as the rest of us by now, decides it's time to cut through the chaos with some science, ordering a DNA test to finally get to the bottom of this familial fiasco. With the evidence piling up and the testimonies more twisted than a daytime soap opera, the courtroom holds its breath for the DNA results that promise to bring some sanity back to the saga.
I've heard enough. Your actions do not match your assertion. And for that reason, I'm ordering a DNA test. I want you to submit to the DNA testing and return to this courtroom for the results.
Okay.
All right.
Court is adjourned.
All right.
In a climax that feels more like a season finale, the DNA results are revealed.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Henderson, you are her father.
The court session starts with the judge making a relaxed call for everyone to take their seats. Buckle up, because this is about to get as twisty as a pretzel.
Please be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is the case of Hammond versus Hammond.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Mrs. Hammond, you claim that after 10 years of marriage and repeated attempts to get pregnant, a month ago, you finally gave birth to your miracle baby, Isaac.
Can things get any more tangled? Mrs. Hammond paints a picture of their rocky marriage, highlighting their on-again, off-again status and the emotional chasm created by their fertility struggles and the eventual arrival of their child. Just when you think it can't get any more soap opera, the judge dives deeper.
Currently, we're separated. We're on and off. You know, after 11 years of being together, all we wanted was to have a baby, and we finally got that, and it's sadly brought us further apart than bring us together.
All because of paternity doubt?
Yes, ma'am.
Hold on to your hats, because here comes a curveball. The judge delves into the murky depths of Mr. Hammond's doubts about paternity, prompting him to spill the beans about his wife's alleged multiple affairs, including a particularly scandalous video incident. What's coming will make your jaw drop.
She's had multiple partners, and she lies to my face constantly. How am I supposed to believe someone who's telling me it's night and it's daytime, you know what I mean?
So you say she lies to you all the time?
All the time. She had me in a snowsuit in the middle of summer.
So I want to understand this. I mean, you've been together 11 years, so the marriage has come to this?
I can only be the fool so many times to where I'm putting my dukes up because I'm tired of being that.
What could possibly happen now? Mr. Hammond lays out his stash of cheating evidence, including a graphic video and some eyebrow-raising testimonials from others, which Mrs. Hammond staunchly denies. Brace yourself, because there's more drama brewing on the horizon.
I've seen a video of my wife giving oral to another man.
That is such a lie. There is no video.
But was there a man and was there oral sex?
And in all honesty, there has been cheating on both sides. My husband cheated on me first. I took it the wrong way. About a year after that happened, I've cheated on him. I have been with other people. It was known on both sides. It wasn't something that I hid. It's sad.
Just when you think you've seen it all, they unpack the messy attempts to salvage their marriage amidst meddling family influences and explosive secrets. But hold your horses. Mr. Hammond is about to reveal something that turns the heat up even more.
So soon after she left to go to California, she tells you you're pregnant, right?
Correct.
Take me back to that day.
She tells me she's pregnant, and at first I was ecstatic, but then she's texting this man that she loves, right, and saying a whole bunch of things that would lead me to believe that she's more than friends.
How will she explain this one? Mr. Hammond whips out text message proof of Mrs. Hammond's ongoing chit-chat with another man, loaded with affection and emojis. Watch the judge's reaction. It's priceless, and there's still more to come.
Thank you,
Give me
sir.
that evidence. Thank you. This evidence is what exactly?
It's conversations with my wife and another man that should not be spoken.
Oh.
She's in the same place as this man is, you know what I mean?
And you posted these to your social media?
Correct.
How does your wife of 11 years text people she's cheated on her husband with messages like this after he loved her enough to stay with her and forgive her?
Right.
This exchange is a real eye-opener. The judge calls out Mrs. Hammond for her suspiciously intimate text messages with another man, challenging the innocence of their relationship. Hang tight, because the courtroom's about to get even steamier.
You saw this man?
Yes, I did. I met him at our local county park, said hello to him. It was a friend that we had both worked with, and it was nothing more than that. It was somebody that was probably trying to get at me, but nothing I was going to involve myself.
Now hold on, Ms. Hammond. Don't waste my time. This is not an exchange between a coworker just met at the park for a minute. It ain't that many kissy faces in the world that you got to type after you meet a coworker at the park.
The stakes are higher than a giraffe's eye. The potential impact of the child's paternity on Mr. Hammond's willingness to fully embrace fatherhood takes center stage. The story of Mr. Hammond's antics during the birth is up next, and it's a doozy.
You believe that this person could be Isaac's biological father?
Yes, ma'am, and numerous others. I mean, she's moved so single, claims to be a married woman.
So can you take me to the point when Isaac is born? Were you at the birth?
I was.
Did you participate?
I signed the birth certificate in the last Hammond. So if I don't have a son, then my family's name is done. So maybe I rushed to want to be the father.
Here comes the moment of truth. Both parties confess to multiple infidelities, laying bare the deep trust issues slicing through their marriage. Up next, Mrs. Hammond's brother steps into the fray with insights that add a whole new layer of intrigue.
How many times have you cheated?
I've been with 3 other people.
I know at least 6 that she's been with. So there's no reason to fake the phone.
He believes that's him.
I believe you've been with more than 6. I believe you've been with 13.
But then again,
16.
Why are you saying these numbers?
Because she would tell me anything. I mean, I've been the brunt of the joke many times. You know what I mean? So it's hard for her to say, this is your child.
What will the brother reveal? Mrs. Hammond's twin brother steps up, shedding light on the couple's chaotic relationship and his unexpected role in supporting the child due to the father's doubts and detachment. Don't go anywhere. The DNA results are about to drop, and they're a game changer.
So what are we hoping for today?
I want him to know the truth. I want him to be a part of his son's life. I want him to be the father he promised me that he would be. I want him to be a husband again. I would like to have my marriage back.
You want this marriage and you want this family?
Yes, Your Honor. Very badly.
How about you, Mr. Hammond?
I would become a different father if I knew this was my child. I mean, I'm not gonna raise the next man's baby.
The suspense is killing me. The climactic moment arrives as the judge unveils the DNA test results.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Hammond, you are the father.
The courtroom drama starts with Jerome rolling out the welcome mat and announcing the heavyweight bout Rainey v. Matthews. The stage is set, the players are ready, and boy, does it look like we're in for a showdown.
Hello, Your Honor. This is the case of Rainey versus Matthews.
Thank you, Jerome.
You're welcome.
Good day, everyone. Ms. Rainey, you are here today requesting 2 paternity tests and suing the man you say is father of your children.
Mr. Matthews fires back with gusto, casting doubt like it's going out of style. He argues that Ms. Rainey's promiscuity and the dubious honor of naming their son after another man are big red flags. Hold on to your hats, because Ms. Rainey's comeback is just around the corner.
And you claim you have every reason to doubt you are the father of Ms. Rainey's children. You say she is known to be promiscuous and even named her son after another man. Confident the children are not yours, and that will be proven when today's DNA results are revealed.
In a plot twist, Ms. Rainey explains the saga behind naming her son Salah, citing a mix of pressure and spite directed at Mr. Matthews during a particularly tumultuous paternity squabble. Grab your popcorn, because the emotional roller coaster is just picking up speed.
Why did you name your son after another man?
He told me to. Okay, the situation is, when I found out I was pregnant, I told him and the other person that it was between both of them.
You weren't sleeping with anybody else during the time of conception?
I slept with him and Rondell.
The courtroom turns into a verbal battlefield as accusations fly like arrows in a medieval skirmish. Judge Lake has to step in like a referee in a boxing match to calm the storm and get the proceedings back on track. You won't believe what comes next as they dive into the nitty-gritty of diaper duty.
Mr. Matthews, why you have such a negative opinion of Ms. Rainey, and she's making this point, and I have to agree, that you have had a relationship with some type of relationship for over years. I mean, we're not talking about 8 months, 8 weeks, 8 years.
As doubts about paternity linger in the air like a bad sitcom, Mr. Matthews owns up to signing the birth certificate for Renaya, but clings to his skepticism about Solly. But wait, the DNA results are on their way, and you'll want front row seats for this.
How can you treat her mother and talk about her mother and address her mother this way? This child's birth certificate, and have pretty much owned up and said, I am her father, and think that it's okay.
Because he don't respect
himself. You know, because she don't respect
herself. Anytime you can take the time out your day talking about somebody who you got a child by.
The financial woes take center stage as Ms. Rainey pulls out receipts. Literally, she details her financial battles and minimal support from Mr. Matthews, showing off a stack of receipts for children's essentials. The courtroom is all ears as the DNA drumroll begins.
You are suing him for half of the child care expenses in the amount of $4,663.50. Now, have you brought the court any evidence of monies you've spent thus far? So tell me, has he helped you at all?
He bought a pack of diapers and a can of milk.
The moment of truth approaches with palpable tension. The court readies itself to unveil the DNA test results that will determine Mr. Matthews' paternity status. This could be a game changer, folks.
You could please hand me the envelope. I'm ready for the results. Thank you.
You're welcome.
These results, as prepared by DNA Diagnostics, reads as follows. In the case of Rainey versus Matthews.
Drum roll, please. The DNA results are in. And surprise, surprise.
Mr. Matthews, you are his father. Mr. Matthews, it was hard to sit here and witness a man disrespect a woman that's the mother of his children in this way.
Overrated, though.
I have to tell you.
The judge and everyone say hi and get ready for a wild court session.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is the case of Thomas versus Hadley.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone.
Ms. Thomas, you claim you're involved in a love triangle that has resulted in the defendant denying her 7-month-old son, Jeremiah.
Yes.
You've petitioned the court for a paternity test to prove that he is the father so he can stop living a double life.
Ms. Thomas can't figure out why Mr. Hadley is playing pretend about their son. She talks about their messy love life, even mentioning another guy, Tyler. It seems like Mr. Hadley is trying to win an award for his dramatic switch-ups in behavior.
This is just going on for way too long. He's denying my son, but he's still around him all the time. Acts like a father towards him when he's with me, and then he goes to Tyler and acts like he's not.
Why do you think he's denying?
He's denying for Tyler. She manipulates him to make him feel guilty for staying around me and my son all the time and not being around her and her daughter.
When Miss Stallworth is not around, he's a good dad to Jeremiah.
Yes.
He's there?
Yes.
He treats him like it's his child?
Yes.
When looking into when Jeremiah was born, Mr. Hadley spills the beans about not being careful and also hints there might be another dad. This throws a big twist into who the real dad could be.
Take me to this pregnancy. You tell Mr. Hadley you're pregnant.
Yes.
When you find out, what do you say?
I told him I was pregnant. I even sent him a picture of the pregnancy test as well. He asked me if I was keeping it, and I said yes. That was the end of it. The next day is when he started doubting it. The same day I told him was the day he told Mrs. Stallworth, and she was all upset about it.
Mr. Hadley felt pushed to be there when Jeremiah was born because Ms. Thomas's family expected it. They all have a laugh debating whose last name the baby should have, showing who's the boss in the family.
Overall, I felt pressured.
How did you feel pressure? Who was putting pressure on you?
Number one, her family member brought me to the hospital.
So you got her, someone picked you up and brought you to the hospital.
Yeah.
And you said, okay, I'm gonna go.
You know, out of respect, you know, everything, I'm going. So while I'm there, they're about to name the child, and she said the child's last name is gonna be Hadley. She's Jamaican, and her whole family's Jamaican, so it's a whole bunch of Jamaicans in the room.
They talk about a sketchy home DNA test that didn't help much. Ms. Thomas thinks it's a joke. The judge calls Ms. Stallworth to give her side, adding more suspense and drama.
Come on, man.
We used a condom.
So, Mr. Hadley, how are you so convinced you aren't when you admittedly slept with her on the 19th, even if this other guy did not protect himself on the 26th? You understand that you're still within the window of conception.
We also had a home DNA test done, and the results were inconclusive.
You did?
Yes.
So you did a home test?
Yes.
Ms. Stallworth, who's with Mr. Hadley, testifies and throws more confusion into the mix. She questions the baby's dad, pointing at Ms. Thomas's flings and the unreliable DNA test. Everyone's eager to see what comes next.
Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
So, Ms. Stallworth, are you in agreement with Mr. Hadley that this is not his biological child?
Yes, Your Honor.
And why do you believe that to be so?
Because she was sleeping with somebody else around the same time, and the test that came back inconclusive.
And you two are in a relationship, Mr. Hadley and yourself, you all are in a relationship now?
No, we're gearing towards a relationship, but this is
There's no gearing towards a relationship when he's staying with me.
The judge calls out Mr. Hadley for not taking things seriously, stirring up trouble between Ms. Thomas and Ms. Stallworth. This leads to a deeper chat about taking responsibility and getting some answers.
Oh, you two have a child as well?
Yes, we do. We have a baby girl.
How old is your child?
She'll be 2 in November.
And Jeremiah is 7 months. So this has been a love triangle that's been going on for a while.
Yes.
Depending on whose house you stay in.
Yes.
Well, it was like whenever she would get mad at me a lot of times, and she'll kick me out.
Miss Thomas was the reason.
Finally, the judge reveals the DNA results to find out if
it has been determined by this court. Mr. Hadley, you are not his father.
Oh my God.
The court session starts with the judge calling the case, Johnson versus Johnson. It's like the intro to a not-so-romantic movie, setting the stage for a drama-filled showdown. Grab your popcorn. The emotional roller coaster is just starting.
Good day, everyone. Mrs. Johnson, you are here today on the verge of divorce because you claim your husband of 7 years forcing you to choose him over your 12-year-old son, Elijah. You state that you have separated multiple times over the past 5 years of your marriage. You have petitioned the court to order Mr. Johnson into family counseling because you say if he will not agree, you plan to divorce him.
Mr. Johnson doesn't hold back, admitting their marriage is on the fritz, but blames his wife for not backing up his authority, allowing their son to give him the cold shoulder. The blame game is strong with this one. Watch as the accusations start to fly faster than a speeding bullet.
But you argue that it's because your wife undermines your authority and allows her 12-year-old son to disrespect you.
Yes, Your Honor.
You claim you were on the streets since you were 14 years old and you fear your stepson is on the same track.
Absolutely.
You are countersuing Mrs. Johnson, asking the court to order her to take anger management classes.
Mrs. Johnson claims Mr. Johnson plays favorites with the kids, especially when it comes to sports. It's like a bad episode of a daytime soap where one twin is evil and the other is good. The plot thickens. And just wait until you hear what happens at Elijah's birthday.
Okay, for an example, I put my kids in baseball. He would participate in our son Ethan's, and he would never participate in Elijah's.
That's not true
That
at all.
photo right there was Elijah's birthday. I took him to the go-karts, and he was supposed to meet us after work and didn't even show up. My son was so upset, sat there and cried because nobody came to his birthday party.
He wasn't upset that I didn't. He was upset that his cousins didn't come from Florida.
Mrs. Johnson describes how Mr. Johnson was a no-show at Elijah's birthday, leading to a tear-filled disaster. Imagine being stood up by your own stepdad. Even a reality show would struggle to script this. The mood in the courtroom is thicker than peanut butter, and the next part is a real tearjerker.
We went on a trip to Gatlinburg. It was just the 4 of us, and we had a great trip, and then it all just kind of dwindled down. My son, we took like a safari ride, and he said, oh, well, me and Ethan will ride on this one, and you and Elijah can ride on that. And it just hurts my son's feelings because he never shows that extra step to where...
She doesn't enforce me as a father figure.
Mr. Johnson harps on about discipline, making it clear that age should dictate respect and chores, which sounds a bit old school, like something out of a 1950s parenting manual. But don't go away yet. Elijah's heartfelt letter is about to make its debut.
Now, Ms. Johnson, in your statement to the court, you said your son asked you, Mom, why can't I have a dad too?
He does have a dad. I'm there for him. I potty trained him. I've taught him how to ride bikes. I play video games with him. I've tried so many times. It was years ago.
Mr. Johnson, but do you show favoritism?
He does. He will go in our son's room that we have together, and he will go in there.
He's my son. I'm not going to be disrespected.
Elijah's letter spills all his feelings, wishing his mom and Mr. Johnson would split. It's more dramatic than a season finale cliffhanger. The audience gasps, and you might too. What's next? Even more jaw-dropping revelations.
Feelings because he does stuff with my brother and don't want to do stuff with me.
Why? I don't care. That
please hand me that letter.
There's so many different points
Mr. Johnson, I have to ask you, do you have any idea why Elijah feels this way?
Elijah is disrespectful. Me, to her,
but he's disrespectful.
to everyone.
Mr. Johnson recounts tales of Elijah's disrespect, painting a picture of domestic chaos over something as simple as a messy house. It's like a sitcom scene, but with more arguing and less laugh. The tension could be cut with a knife. And up next, Mrs. Johnson shares her side of the story.
She told him, we got a new place together. I started to remodel the entire place. She told him specifically to clean up after himself. He is 12 years old. I cleaned the entire house. 5 minutes later, he destroyed it. There's food everywhere. I asked him, pick up after yourself. I shouldn't have to do it. You're 12 years old. You do it. You'll have to deal with her when she gets home. He knows I can't have that house like that because then me and her are going to fight over a dirty house. And I'm not going to fight over a dirty house. You know what happened? I cleaned it.
Mrs. Johnson feels stuck between her son and her husband. A classic tug-of-war scenario, but with more at stake than just bragging rights. It's like choosing between two bad TV channels. The story takes a turn as the couple contemplates their future.
Because when I do go to work, I have to take my son to my father's house. My son is not my father's responsibility.
Well, I'm sorry, you don't discipline him. When he does those things, do you think he gets grounded? No, she'll go buy him a video game, a phone, an iPod.
This is concerning to me because when I hear a 12-year-old child want their parents to be together anymore and that he doesn't like his stepfather at all. This court is about empowering families, helping them understand how to be better families.
Mr. Johnson defends his strict parenting style, fearing a lax approach will lead the boys astray. He's aiming for Father of the Year, but might be missing the mark. Just when you think it's all doom and gloom, the court offers a glimmer of hope.
You're saying you're molding them, you're giving them
discipline. He's showing them when he's not working a steady job, when he, I mean, the thing about it is that Jason sits there and one of our biggest arguments is financially. And he's like, I help you and it's 50-50 with both of us, but it's not. Jason pays half of the bill, stuff like that.
So you're saying he needs to focus less on molding the children and more on providing.
Both.
Mrs. Johnson admits she might have an anger issue, hinting at an explosive temper that could rival a dramatic reality show meltdown. She's ready to take on anger management, and you won't want to miss what the judge has to say about this.
I'd like to now. I am angry and I'm upset and I just feel like I'm ready to explode.
Nobody handled him. He called me himself.
Because it's with my whole family situation, though.
He called me himself and couldn't handle him one day. Now, how is it just me?
So you're saying Mr. Mulch called you and said he couldn't handle Elijah?
Absolutely. He called me. We made an agreement for Elijah to go there because we don't get along. He called me and was like, it's just too much for me, too. I can't take it either. Courtney has to work tomorrow. You guys are going to have to figure something out.
The judge suggests parenting classes, hoping to script a better future for this family drama. It's like getting a second season when you thought your favorite show was canceled. The resolution is just around the corner.
I realized that there was a petition for divorce. We've seen. I'm going to take a risk and just ask, now that we've consented to the anger management and the parenting courses, is it safe to say that we're going to work on this marriage?
Yes.
Yes.
Wonderful. So we won't be needing this, right?
Right.
Fantastic. Court is adjourned.
Just when you think you've seen it all, the courtroom drama kicks off. The case is introduced by the court show host Jerome, and the presiding judge, Judge Lake, greets the participants and the audience with her usual flair. Mr. Johnson steps up, explaining that he's in court to cut through the fog of a nearly 2-decade emotional tug-of-war over the paternity of Amber May, firmly believing he's not the father. Buckle up, because this courtroom roller coaster is just leaving the station.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Johnson versus Carr May.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Mr. Johnson, you say the defendant, Mrs. Carr, has been
been playing an emotional DNA game with you over her daughter's paternity for the past 18 years. You've brought her to court to finally end this game and prove you are not her daughter's biological father.
Hold on to your hats. Things are about to get windy. Ms. Carr fires back with gusto, accusing Mr. Johnson of dodging DNA tests like they're dodgeballs and shirking his fatherly duties from day one. She suggests his denials are not about truth, but payback because she rejected him romantically. You won't believe what's coming up next.
You say that Mr. Johnson has been dodging a DNA test and his responsibilities as a father since the day you told him you were pregnant. You claim the only reason he is denying her is because you are married and will no longer sleep with him. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you thought daytime TV was juicy, wait till you hear this soap opera plot. Judge Lake digs into their past relationship, or lack thereof. Mr. Johnson clarifies they were never an item, but had a brief fling that led to Ms. Carr's pregnancy, sparking an immediate paternity controversy. The plot thickens. Keep watching. The next part is a real doozy.
We had sex one time.
Okay.
One time. It was a lot of touchy-feely before, and the one time we had sex, it was, you know, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am.
It's not true.
Well, do you agree that you had sex with him just one time?
I agree that we had sex on multiple times. We have had sex more
And at some point you realize you're pregnant?
Yes.
Just when Mr. Johnson thought he was out, they pull him back in. The conversation gets intense as Mr. Johnson recounts a crucial conversation where Ms. Carr's family allegedly informed him that another man was confirmed as the father through a DNA test, leading him to initially back off. Stick around. It gets even more tangled.
Do you think it's yours? It was just, I'm moving to Ohio.
Your Honor, I remember this conversation verbatim.
No.
Like, this is something I cannot forget. I remember the whole day like it was yesterday, crying and snotting. I told my family member after I got off the phone with Miss Carr, I could have a baby on the way.
Nobody else in the family knew about him being a possibility. I had her on the delivery table. That's when I told my mom.
Grab your popcorn. This is getting good. Mr. Johnson describes how he got emotionally hooked into Amber's life over the years, despite the swirling paternity doubts, celebrating her milestones like a true dad. The unresolved paternity issue casts a long shadow, though. Don't go anywhere. The emotional fireworks are just starting.
And you did not know this, Mr. Johnson?
No, ma'am, I didn't.
Mr. Johnson has been active in her life periodically.
At one point in time, after her father comes to my house and said that I wasn't the father, I move on with my life. Maybe about 5-6 years later, I had my first daughter. They see how I'm interacting with her, and so I guess they say, this is your daughter now.
You thought daytime court was just gavels and legal jargon, huh? Judge Lake's patience wears thin as she questions why, after all the daddy duties, Mr. Johnson still hadn't taken a DNA test. She points out the absurdity of doing everything but the one thing that could have settled all questions. The suspense is killing me. What happens next will shock you.
You know what I'm saying? I'm full-blown father. I'm school clothes, shoes, everything.
If you're a full-blown father and you're throwing birthday party, what brings you to court today? You still have a doubt?
I got a phone call about a year or two later requesting a DNA test. Now, after I'm full-blown father mode, why get a DNA test now? Why not when I ask
I want
for one?
the answers to both of those questions.
Now, from the mouth of babes, or at least teenagers, Amber May steps into the courtroom, shedding light on her side of the story with memories of Mr. Johnson that range from sparse to fond, particularly a birthday party that seemed more splash than substance. You'll want to hear what she says next. It's heart-wrenching and heartwarming all at once.
Because he asked to contact my mother. He has told me to tell my mother to call him.
And so you said, I did abandon you. I take responsibility for my actions, but it's a lot you don't know. And then Amber writes back, well, I'm of age. Please enlighten me, Brandon. And then you say, you may not be my daughter. We were supposed to get a paternity test about 4 or 5 years ago. Your biological father and the man you know to be your father, you wanted them to be at your graduation.
Yes, ma'am.
Drum roll, please. For the big reveal, the DNA test results are finally announced by Judge Lake.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Johnson, you are her father.
The courtroom is buzzing with anticipation as the curtain rises on the drama of Moyet versus Lester. Miss Moyet steps up, ready to drop some serious courtroom drama, claiming Mr. Lester, a cool 20 years her senior, is the dad of 3-month-old Nyla. She's not just here to chat. She's gunning for half the child-rearing cash because, according to her, Mr. Lester's been about as helpful as a chocolate teapot. She lays it all out for Judge Lake, who's all ears.
Ms. Moyet, you're here in court today to prove that Mr. Lester, a man who is 20 years older than you, is the father of your 3-month-old daughter, Nyla. Nyla Moyet. You claim Mr. Lester has done nothing for your daughter, therefore you're suing for half of child rearing expenses.
Yes, Your Honor.
Enter Mr. Lester, the accused baby daddy, who throws a curveball straight away. He insists he and Miss Moyet were never an item, and she was not exactly playing a one-woman game at the time of conception. He's so sure he's not the father that you'd think he had a crystal ball. Mr. Lester is standing his ground, setting the stage for a paternity clash that's got the audience leaning in.
That you and Ms. Moyet were never in a relationship and that she had multiple sex partners her time of conception, so you are 100% certain that you are not the father of baby Nyla. So Ms. Moyet, what has been Mr. Lester's involvement in baby Nyla's life since her birth?
Miss Moyet counters with a low blow, detailing the scanty contributions Mr. Lester has made. A few diapers and a onesie that screams boy in a sea of pink. It's all diapers and onesies, and she's got receipts literally. She's been footing the bill for baby Nyla's buffet of needs, and she's got the paperwork to prove it. Judge Lake's intrigued and asks to see the evidence. The plot thickens, and the calculator comes out.
Besides the fact of 3 cases of diapers, a onesie that he bought for her, which was a boy outfit, other than that, me and my mother have been providing for her food, milk, and everything and things like that. I also have evidence here showing you that I have been buying, providing clothes, food, cribs,
Let me
everything.
see that evidence.
Oh, but there's a twist. Miss Moyet drops a bombshell about her baby-making strategy. It seems she had marked her calendar for a very special visit to Mr. Lester's love shack on peak ovulation day. Despite his protests, she's like, hey, I told you I wanted a baby. It's a he said, she said, with a side of baby drama, and the stakes are as high as the drama.
When you told him about the pregnancy, what was his reaction, Ms. Moyet?
He was not happy. I actually planned this pregnancy. I went over to his house the day I was ovulating, okay? And I let him know, babe, I'm ovulating. I want to have a baby. We did nothing.
That is not true.
Yeah, we did nothing to prevent Nyla. To make matters even worse.
Just when you think it can't get more soap opera, Mr. Lester admits they still hooked up recently. Protection-free, no less. This guy's memory seems as patchy as his claims of using protection. This bombshell has the court gasping because it ties him right back to the scene of the conception. The judge's eyebrows are somewhere near the ceiling, and everyone's waiting for the next shoe to drop.
Is that true?
Yes, that's true. Yesterday, we did have sex. That is true. Prior to that...
Yesterday, when you had sex, did you use protection?
Yeah.
No. I have no reason to lie. I planned my baby's pregnancy. I planned this. I wanted to be with him.
What she's saying is you were having unprotected sex with her then, and even since this child's birth, that you are a possible father if, in fact, that sex occurred during the window of conception.
Mr. Lester tries to wiggle out of this sticky situation by listing his doubts about Nyla's paternity like it's a grocery list. He's got suspicions galore, from Miss Moyet's mysterious boyfriend stories to her frequent hangouts with the neighborhood guy. The court's got more doubt than a conspiracy theory convention, but Mr. Lester's tales are starting to sound like he's grasping at straws.
You're 45 years old. When a woman says to you, I want to have your baby, and you say, no, I really don't want you to, and you're still having sex without protecting yourself, you're setting yourself up.
That's a lie. You've never used a condom. Now, with the girls that he's cheating on me with, he used condom, but he's never used a condom with me, and you know that. So stop lying.
Drum roll, please. The DNA results are in, and wouldn't you know it?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Lester, you are Nyla's father.
Yes! Yes!
Ma'am.
Didn't I tell you?
Ma'am.
Didn't I tell you?
You need to be... Ma'am, I understand you're upset.
Judge Lake kicks things off with a smooth, you may be seated, setting the stage for what's about to unfold. Ron, with his usual flair, pipes up with a cheery, hello, Your Honor, as if he's just walked into a surprise party. The courtroom, already buzzing, gears up for the drama about to play out.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Krieger, Lee v. Dittmer.
Thank you, Ron. Good day, everyone. Ms. Krieger, you say that your mother's ex-boyfriend, Mr. Dittmer, has denied that you were his daughter for much of the past 34 years due to his anger over paying child support.
Ms. Krieger steps up, dropping a bombshell that Mr. Dittmer, her mother's ex, has been dodging the dad title due to his grudge over child support payments for the past 34 years. She and her mom are here to finally set the record straight with DNA proof in hand. The courtroom braces for what's next, knowing this isn't just any family barbecue squabble.
Now you and your mother have brought him here to prove that he is your biological father. Mr. Dittmer, you say you accidentally agreed to pay child support for Ms. Krieger, and you claim that you never believed she was your daughter because her mother, Ms. Lee, cheated on you throughout your 12-year relationship.
Mr. Dittmer lays out his side of the story with a tale of certified mail mix-ups and unexpected court defaults, painting a picture of a man more lost than a tourist without without Google Maps. He claims innocence in this parental drama, setting the scene for a showdown that might just need more than popcorn.
They sent certified mail to my mother's house and I wasn't there. I was in Colorado. And when the certified mail came, my stepdad signed, so they held court without me and found me in default because I wasn't there. Something I was running from the law from. I paid my bond to get out of jail. They said, you ain't going nowhere. The friend of the court has a hold on you.
Now, the evidence. Photos that Ms. Lee claims will prove Mr. Dittmer is the father, based on baby pictures where the family resemblance is supposedly uncanny. Mr. Dittmer begs to differ, leaving everyone squinting at the photos like they're trying to read the fine print on a shady contract.
Your Honor, I have pictures right here that will prove, without a doubt,
Let me see that evidence, please, Ron. These are pictures of
Jamie as a baby.
Jamie as a little girl. The next picture is Mr. Dittmer. And you believe they look exactly alike?
Look at him, yeah. How can he deny her?
Do you see the similarity?
Not really, Your Honor.
The plot thickens as Ms. Lee admits to past romances, but insists she was faithful during the critical time. Mr. Dittmer counters with accusations of her playing the field during their 12-year relationship. It's like watching a tennis match, where both players are convinced the other one's got a foot fault.
Anyone else?
Yes, I was. At that time, I was not. I was very close to his family. I met him when I was 14, Your Honor. His family was my family.
Everybody, when there's babies born, compare and say how much they look like me on my dad's side of the family also. How could they look like me if I have a different dad and that's from my dad's side of the family?
Judge Lake cuts through the tension, reminding everyone that kids don't come with a guarantee to look like their parents. It's a moment of sanity in a sea of soap opera-worthy revelations, and the courtroom takes a collective breath, wondering whose narrative will float.
Well, every child is different.
Well, why would she trick me into paying child support like that, Your Honor? I mean, I wasn't even at the hospital when Jamie was born.
You most certainly were.
No, I wasn't.
Oh my.
No, I was not.
That upsets you, Ms. Lee? You don't, because he doesn't
lying, Your Honor.
No, I'm not.
Is he on her birth certificate?
No, he's not.
Ms. Krieger reveals she only learned of Mr. Dittmer's paternity doubts in 2007, adding another layer to this emotional lasagna. Her recount of the past suspicions adds a personal touch to the saga, and it's clear this episode is more gripping than a season finale cliffhanger.
At first, it was just all of a sudden I was hearing all this, how I wasn't his kid, and I kind of backed off. I've always been raised with him as my father. Before we moved to Monroe, he used to occasionally come by and visit us outside because he wasn't allowed in the house.
No, Your Honor, I fought for 2 years to get visitation to see these children. I went through mediators. She kept saying that I would kidnap the kids, that she'd never see them again. It took me 2 years.
Mr. Dittmer doubles down on his doubts, blaming Ms. Lee's supposed flings for his uncertainty. As he recounts his version of the story, it's like listening to someone explain a conspiracy theory, part disbelief, part intrigue.
It's because her mother was messing around with another fella about the time that Jamie was conceived.
No,
I believe a couple
not,
of the fellas.
Your Honor.
Yes, you were.
I had been going to church, Your Honor, with his mother, giving my life to the Lord, and that is how it happened, because I went off the pill. I said, I'm not having sex again until I'm married. He knew I was not on protection.
She's acting like a born-again virgin or something. That's not true, Your Honor.
Mr. Dittmer discusses the heavy burden of child support payments, sounding like a man who's been through the financial ringer. The courtroom sympathizes, but can't help but wait for the other shoe to drop, knowing there's always another twist in the narrative pipeline.
We settled for half of that, and so I paid it off to get it off my back so they'd leave me alone.
So you paid the amount of $6,500
yes, ma'am,
to settle your child support debt,
yes, yep,
a $3,000 child support debt.
Well, they kept chasing me down. They wanted to throw me in jail all the time, and they kept threatening me. Every time I'd get a job, they'd want money, you know. They hounded me forever.
Emotional damage is front and center as Ms. Krieger discusses the impact of the paternity dispute on her life, revealing a tale of familial bonds tested by accusations and financial strife. It's a tear-jerker moment, with the audience reaching for tissues and bracing for what emotional roller coaster comes next.
No, more than that. More than that.
Well, I mean, the fact is he's giving you some, I mean, because let's be honest, you all are accusing him of being about the money, the fact that he had to pay money, child support. I mean, he's paid the child support, he's even paid it all. Well, the fact that he's even also giving you money on top of that seems to be...
When I was little, I asked for
I
some
even give her
rollerblades.
daughter money for Christmas too, my granddaughter.
Ms. Krieger pours her heart out, feeling diminished by the years of uncertainty and Mr. Dittmer's hurtful comments. The courtroom hangs on her every word, prepping themselves for the revelation that's about to shake things up even more.
When you were younger, did you feel like you were treated different?
He never denied my other sisters, but he never paid a dime on them. So that's why it seems like it's kind of money
me. And then when he did help me, he'd always be griping. Well, I don't even know if I'm yours, but I just gave you 20 bucks to help you buy some diapers. And why ask him for help? I mean, he's just got it in the back of his mind. I'm not his kid. It makes me feel worthless and like it's a lot of emotional abuse.
Judge Lake signals that it's time for the big reveal. The DNA test results are in.
Mr. Dittmer, you are her father.
Oh. The courtroom gears up for what looks to be an epic showdown. The case of Smethers versus Stevens is called to order by the court. The plaintiff, Ms. Smethers, is beyond devastated because Mr. Stevens stubbornly refuses to accept that he is the biological father of her son, Adrian. There's an electric tension in the air, like we're at the season finale of your favorite drama series.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is the case of Smethers versus Stevens.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Ms. Smethers, you have dragged the defendant to court because you are devastated that he refuses to accept that he is your son, Adrian's biological father. You claim today's DNA test results will have a dramatic impact on your future as a family.
Ms. Smethers is putting all her chips on today's DNA test, folks. She explains that the DNA test results are crucial for her family's future. Mr. Stevens, on the other hand, argues that just one look at him and the baby is all the proof anyone needs to see that he's definitely not the father. And to top it off, he accuses Ms. Smethers of playing musical bedrooms. Get ready, because the pot's about to be stirred even more.
You say that one look at you and the baby is all the anyone needs to see that you are not the father. And if that's not enough, you claim the plaintiff slept with another man right before she told you she's pregnant. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Let's roll back the tape on their rocky romance. The relationship history between Ms. Smethers and Mr. Stevens is discussed, showing they met during GED classes and have had a roller coaster of a relationship, complete with sneaky accusations of cheating from both sides. Fasten your seatbelts. This emotional ride is just picking up speed.
And we had our first daughter. After that, it went from good to bad. Mr. Stevens started cheating on me. I was always at home with the baby. You know, he was always out with girls.
But I only cheated on her because, like, for example, like I would go through her phone. She would have messages erased and messages that didn't make sense. On her social medias, she would have just type in a letter, or you can go to the recent search, who you searched up on that phone, and like so I would see her exes on there. So I didn't trust her.
Story time with a twist as Ms. Smethers spills the tea on the pregnancy announcement. The moment Mrs. Smethers discovered she was pregnant and informed Mr. Stevens' detail. Initially, Mr. Stevens was over the moon, but later, doubts about paternity crept in due to Ms. Smethers' later confession of a potential other baby daddy. Keep watching. The plot thickens from here.
I did open up and say that I was with another man, but I never said that AJ was not his.
Even though you didn't say it, could it be true?
No. Yeah. It was, my conception date was between October 7th and the 11th, or the 12th.
Here comes the drama as doubts and daddy issues take center stage. Tensions escalate as Ms. Smethers discusses Mr. Stevens' relationship with Adrian despite his paternity doubts. Mr. Stevens admits he's been playing dad, but is haunted by his disbelief due to the child's lack of family resemblance. Just when you think it can't get more complicated, it does.
So what is Mr. Stevens' relationship like with Adrian?
He's a good dad to him. You know, when he takes the other two, he's always acted like a father figure to him. He's just had his doubts. He always comes out and says like he's too white, he can't be my baby, but I mean he still stepped up and took the father role.
Judge Lake throws in a dash of praise amidst the chaos. She discusses the importance of Mr. Stevens' role in Adrian's life despite his doubts, commending his commitment to the child. Mr. Stevens talks about the emotional turmoil of seeing another man when he looks at Adrian. Buckle up, we're heading to the climax with the DNA results coming up.
So even though you're there 22 months, the past 22 months, you're there, try to treat Adrian just like the other children. But when you're with him, are you constantly looking at him and comparing features? And are you having constant reminders?
A lot of the times, but I try not to because it messes with. That gives me more doubt, and like I just don't want that. Like I want me and him to have a bond. Like I want us to be able to go fishing. I want us to be able to go hunting and do stuff together.
And that upsets you?
Yes, ma'am.
Enter the wild card witness, Ms. Craig, who's about to shake things up. A key witness, Ms. Craig, is brought into the courtroom. She drops a bombshell by testifying that Ms. Smethers had expressed doubts about Adrian's paternity to her, which contradicts everything Ms. Smethers has said so far. The courtroom is buzzing with anticipation as we await the decisive DNA test results.
Smethers, your friend, Ms. Craig, is in court today. She's a witness that I'd like to hear. Jerome, will you please escort Ms. Craig into the courtroom?
Yes.
Ms. Craig, thank you for joining us today. Ms. Craig, how do you know Ms. Smethers?
I've known Ms. Smethers for about 10 years. We've always been really close friends.
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for, the grand reveal. The DNA test results are revealed.
It has been determined by this court Mr. Stevens, you are the father.